announce new perks, and then take care of people who get boned.
Yep, sounds about right.
Okay. Well, I
All
think
right.
I'm ready to rock.
You ready for a little bit of theme song?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Now I'm just screwing with you. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Off the Cut, a podcast where we talk about building, making,
and answering all of your questions.
I'm Eric from Spenceley Design Co.
And I'm Zach from Zach Builds. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on air, you can send it to offthecutpodcast@gmail.com.
You can find both of us on YouTube, Instagram, and unfortunately, because we have to keep up with the kids, you can find us on TikTok too.
All right, now let's get into the show.
That's the sound that you've just arrived at Off the Cut episode 86. We're up in Toronto and here in Ohio. Today is known as Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. And on this day in history, the Green Suiters podcast, the worst woodworking podcast in our space, available on Apple and Spotify, all converted to using Odies oil exclusively in an attempt to actually have something interesting to talk about.
Jeez, how much do you think Odies Oil had to pay them in order to do that?
Oh, it had to have been a hefty check.
I'm sure.
I don't know. The three of them have pretty low levels of integrity. They would probably use that product.
I mean, look, if the Odies Oil guy was willing to personally drive a dump truck full of money to my front door and apologize to me, then I would take his money.
Here's a real question, and this isn't just bash Odies Oil, although it is a common occurrence on this podcast.
Sure is.
Let's say that the guy who owns Odies Oil calls you and is like, Zach, I want to set up some sort of sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
What would it have to look like for you to take it on?
Ooh, boy. That's
especially knowing all just the overall hatred in the woodworking space for what that guy said like a year and a half ago or whatever to Dan from Daniel Dunlap Woodworks.
Yeah, I mean, he said it to multiple creators,
right?
To be fair.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
Yeah. I think that there would have to be some sort of acknowledgement of the fiasco in the integration. Be like,
yes.
Look, Odies Oil does not have the best reputation with content creators, and they're really sorry about that, and they're trying to do better. Right. And also, they've reformulated the product so that it doesn't suck.
That's critical too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't.
Derek, I want to ask you this from someone you engage with a lot of different creators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How would you feel if you logged in to YouTube, watched a video, and you're like, Zach, Eric, whoever is like, they took on an Odies Oil sponsorship? What would you have to see for you to be like, okay, yeah, I get it?
I mean, I don't have any skin in the game for the whole Odies Oil thing, but I feel, I understand the situation at hand, but I don't think I do see it get used, and I wonder what other people think, but yeah. I don't personally have any skin in the game, so I don't have an opinion
so you wouldn't
one
care
way or the other. Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
But I know Lincoln Street was using it in his recent comparisons of finishes, and he was actually talking about how it was doing well in some of these areas. And I thought that was just kind of funny that he didn't shy away from it.
Yeah, I think in his original finish shootout video, John said that it actually scored quite well, and he was kind of pissed off about that because the owner was such a douche.
Yeah.
My issue with the product has always been that it doesn't maintain the shine that it has when you first apply it. I did a table with it, and then I came back, 3 4 months later, and it had gone from kind of a satin finish to more of a matte finish,
Yeah.
which bugged me. It didn't really maintain that same level of shine. It looked really good when it was first applied, and a lot of people, I think on Instagram, told me that you have to then apply. They've got like a wood butter or something like that. There's another top coat that you can apply on it to make
Okay.
it look a little bit better, but I don't know. I'm kind of, call me crazy, but I think if you're gonna have a product that's advertised as a wood finish, it should not need another layer on top of it in order to work.
I think that might be part of my just difficulty in this is that I've never actually used the product, so I don't know personally if it's good or bad. But there's
Yeah.
plenty of other products out there that don't have the same negative reputation or
Yeah.
issues and baggage that come with it that I'll just go there. Like I just picked up some walrus oil the other day that I plan to try out and use.
Yeah.
Does,
Right.
does walrus oil have like a hard wax? I've only
They
ever
do.
seen it as a literal oil that you can kind of soak boards in and stuff.
I got both. I got a little tub or a little squeezy thing of
Yeah.
like a liquid, and then I
Okay.
got like a little like canister of like a hard wax.
Is that
Okay.
their
Okay.
butter thing?
I don't remember. I think they were just both called finish wax. I think one of them may have been finish paste.
Okay, so there's a furniture finish which is in like a squeeze bottle, and then there's like a little tub of wax that looks like it's called like furniture wax. That's just kind of like it's like a hard brick, almost like a candle.
Sure.
Yeah,
And then they
that's the
also
one I got.
have okay, you got that one. And they
Oh, I
also
got the
have
wood wax. Sorry.
okay. And they also have furniture butter, which is kind of like a
Too many
literally like a
products.
butter consistency, which is like a oil and wax wood finish. I've used all of them. To be honest with you, the reason I used them is because I was just making stuff that was like pretty much only for YouTube. And I was like, I just
Yeah.
need to slap some stuff on it to have it be done. That furniture butter, I had it on a coffee table for a while, and it did require like reapplication. Like it got dull, every
Yeah.
like 6 to
Mhm.
12 months, but honestly, it worked pretty well.
All right. So school me on the butter. How does it work? You do wax first, then butter?
So the furniture butter is an oil wax combo. It's literally like
Okay.
think of like a can of margarine.
Okay.
You know?
So it is a one-stop shop. It's not a
Yes.
multi-product thing. Okay.
Correct. It's a one-stop shop, and you basically just slap it on the table, take a Scotch Brite pad, just rub it in. You let it sit like overnight, and then you rub off the excess, and it
Mhm.
cures in like a month.
Okay.
And then the
Month is
wax
a little
is
bit-
you rub it on
little bit
for about
long,
an
but-
hour, and then you rub it off whatever's
Yeah.
left. And yeah, the only one I've ever used is the the beeswax one with the little boy and the chair on the front of it. I get it at home.
Oh,
Home Center.
is that?
Oh, I have a can of that stuff, but I can't remember
Yeah.
or a tin of it, I should say, but I can't remember what the name of
Yeah.
it is.
But it has the same thing where I used it on a couple things, and over time they fade, and you
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
reapply.
yeah.
But I feel like that's probably the case with most of these waxes and oils.
Yeah,
That
even
you're
like
looking for that natural finish.
Rubio, like after a year or so, just slap another coat on there, like freshen it up.
That's a big ask for me. I don't like refreshing stuff. One and done.
Yeah, no, I'm the
I'm
same
lazy.
way. I've been looking at my dining room table for like a year and a half now, and I'm always like, the
What?
one,
I
the
thought
one
it
that
only came out 3 months ago.
the one I just put out the video like a couple months ago, and I keep looking, and like the day one when I brought it in there, I dropped a screwdriver because I was like changing a light bulb above it, and I dropped the screwdriver and just dented the shit out. Oh, there we go, explicit. Dented the table like crazy, and I was like, yeah, I gotta like steam that and like puff that little piece of wood out.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna get to that. Like
You know what, though? I'm kind of the mind that I like when stuff gets a little beat up and used. I was thinking about it the other day. I was looking at my desk and I was like, my desk's a little beat up now because I've been using it like a workbench for the past, God
Right.
knows, 3 years or something like that.
Right.
And then I was like, but each one of these little marks in there, that's a little story from my life, from some project I was working on, some screwdriver that I dropped while changing a light bulb. I like
Right.
those marks and stuff like that.
I agree. And it makes you not like baby the furniture anymore. It's like, whoa,
Exactly.
use a coaster, use a coaster. It's like, it doesn't matter.
It's super freeing to just be like, yeah, whatever, throw your hot mug on there, throw your cool drink on there. I don't care. Like,
Same
do you
when
really
like you
want to?
get like a little ding or a scratch on your car, and now you're just like, yeah, whatever.
Well, the car thing, the car is a different story. Don't even, don't even talk. All my cars are spotless.
Oh.
No, I do often see these guys driving around in beater trucks where they'll just throw tools in the back. They'll whack a 2x4 on the side of their truck and not even care at all. And I am pretty jealous of those guys.
You got paint down the side of it.
Exactly. Oh, I've seen that so many
can't do
times.
that.
Yeah. Especially stucco guys, like stucco will spill in the back of their truck and then like run out over the bumper and stuff. Oh.
Just have paint spilled all over the place.
But nobody likes that person who follows you around their house and puts coasters under all your drinks and stuff.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm in the mindset now where just like coasters are a waste. Just get rid of them.
Unless they're made out of concrete, in which case they're super sick.
Fuck off. I gotta look. I'm always curious every once in a while. For everybody who doesn't know that jab, the first YouTube video that I ever did, you can go back and look at it.
I should go back and watch that. I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, dude, it's so bad.
Yeah.
I want to go back and look at your first YouTube video too.
It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough.
What is it?
It's me making a cutting board.
Okay. That's
I
pretty
wanted to start. I was like, dude, I know that because when you first make a YouTube video, it is a bit of a mountain that you have to climb, right?
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking, I was like, should I make a desk? Should I make a table? I was like, I'm already so worried about just being able to capture all the various elements of this project. I was like, I'm going to do the simplest project so that I can actually just focus on making video.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, thus, cutting board.
That was kind of what I was going for, but I also thought I was going to be selling a bunch of small products. I was like, this would be great. I can show people these sick concrete coasters. Everybody's going to buy them. Nobody bought any of them.
When you first put out that video, do you remember, like, ballpark how many views you got on it?
Oh, dude.
Oh, I just had it up.
I just looked it up. I have 8,500 views since
4 years.
In 4 years. So since August 16th of 2019.
It's only a 2-minute video though.
Yeah, I know. Well, I cut off a lot of like bullshit at the beginning and end of it.
So you actually went back and edited this video?
Yeah. So now it just starts. Yeah, it just gets into it right away.
Just goes right into. Have you had any luck doing that? You had mentioned in a few places you wanted to cut the intros out of videos and just get right. And have you had any success doing that on old videos?
Oh yeah. But I also had changed titles and thumbnails, so I can't necessarily correlate the success of that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was looking through TubeBuddy recently, and they have a tool that's maybe a little bit underrated that I think maybe some people are sleeping on. It will go through your videos and it will find the best performing videos that have the lowest click-through rates, and it'll basically tell you like, hey, redo the thumbnails for these videos because they have the biggest potential to see, because you already know it's a great video if it's performing well, even though it has a shit thumbnail.
What's the feature called?
Okay, talk about something and give me a second to click away at my computer here and I'll try and pull it up.
Okay. Derek, we rudely interrupted you when we were talking about like the first video that we put out and stuff.
Oh yeah. No, I was just gonna say it was funny because today I was making a cutting board, not for a video or anything like that. The project I'm working on, the island, I'm almost done with, and I just started painting it today, and I had a bunch of scraps, and so I took because it's got multiple woods in it. It's got walnut and maple throughout. So I took some of the scraps of walnut and maple, and I just made a cutting board for the people I'm making it for. So it's just kind of a thank you.
Oh yeah, that's a classic move where people who like where they commission stuff if you have some leftovers and it's a moderately higher price project. Like it doesn't have to be some crazy end grain pattern cutting board. Just like
it's
a
just
quick
straight.
straight grain. Zoop, glue it up, sand it down, throw some feet on it if you get crazy. They're gonna be appreciative as hell for that.
Yeah. I was originally thinking about making a Jenga set because they're a family. But then I was like, the strips are long enough. I could do a cutting board, and that would probably be a little more useful.
Yeah. What? Oh my god! I was on TubeBuddy and it said sign up for the new TubeBuddy beta.
Oh.
I don't even know if I want to do that.
So it's in the Click Magnet tool. There's a subsection of that tool. I'm just waiting for it to load. It has to compile a bunch of stats before it'll load, so it'll take a second. While we're on the subject of monthly reoccurring bills, I wanted to bring up something that I learned yesterday. I got an email from Adobe. I think this will be handy for some of our content creator listeners. I got an email from Adobe saying that the price of my Creative Cloud subscription was going up. So when I first started, I was paying $39 a month for the Adobe Suite. That was like an introductory promo. After the first year, it went up to $80.
I'm the only one here.
And then they just sent me an email saying that it was going up to $100. So not insignificant. It's pretty expensive, the Adobe Suite. So I went to first I did a little bit of research, and I heard that Adobe is very easy when it comes to giving discounts if you say that you're going to cancel your subscription.
Yeah.
And so what I found was people saying you had to talk to a customer service agent. You got to give them a little bit of a sob story about how it's too expensive, but you want to stay blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I go on their site. I talk to chatbot. I say, I want to cancel my subscription. They send me to a page, and it was all automated. I had to go through like 3 layers of saying, yes, I'm sure I want to cancel my Adobe subscription. And then at the very last point, right before you cancel, they say, okay, what about if we gave it to you for $39 a month again? So I didn't have to talk to a single person. I just went through a couple online questionnaires on their website, and they reduced the price of my monthly subscription by 60%.
For how long?
Damn.
For another year.
Okay.
They offered me a 60% discount for a year or 2 free months.
Oh, I would take the 60% discount.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Good to know. Maybe I should do that because I have the one that's like $15 or $20 a month for Photoshop and Lightroom.
Yeah.
But
because I guess you don't use Premiere, right? So
no. Did you find your TubeBuddy thing?
Yeah. Okay. So it's under. So it's in the Click Magnet. Hold on. Give me a second here.
And if I had to venture, anything meaningful from TubeBuddy is under their most expensive subscription.
100%. Okay, so it's under. So you do Click Magnet, and then you go under CTR opportunities, and it tells you which videos are performing well, even though they have a crap click-through rate, and which ones would benefit the most from a revised thumbnail.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
I've never used
No, go ahead, Derek.
I was gonna say I've never used TubeBuddy. Is that just for YouTube content?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's relevant or actually helpful is in their most expensive thing that's like $50 a month, where you can do the A/B testing. Basically every other feature in TubeBuddy is irrelevant.
Yeah. It's
in my opinion.
True. No, you're right.
It's interesting that the top video it recommends me in that one is the wine stand that I did. It says it's a very, very high opportunity. It's a 2.3% click-through rate. However,
Yeah.
the video, I think, has, like, over 1,000,000 views. So at that point, I
Right.
think it's like,
I
know
mean, yeah. It is recommending, like, my top one is like an outdoor table I did. It says the CTR is 3%, and that has like 700,000 views. But
right,
you know how YouTube works, right? Like, it keeps pumping out your content until the
right,
CTR gets low enough. So if you can do something to boost that CTR again, who knows? Maybe you get a whole
right.
new. Because
Mm,
I've always been of the same opinion as you. You know, once a video gets to, somewhere north of 500,000 views, I'm always very reluctant to play with the thumbnail. But
oh,
maybe
I'm
we're
not.
missing an op. Oh, really?
No.
But you're saying, well, you were saying that you don't want to play with that one.
No, I guess what I'm saying is, like, do they really think that that's the video where my effort is best focused on?
I mean, well,
I
I
don't
gotta
know.
mess around with it. Oh, you know what? Let's put a pin in this, and we'll circle back to it
Okay.
next week or 2 weeks from now, and I'll play around with it a little bit and see. I'll take its advice. I'll redo like the top three and see if it makes a difference.
Fair, fair. Well, speaking of videos and stuff like this, we wanted to talk about Derek, you put out your, let's call it your relaunch perhaps of your YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
I looked at the video. It looked like it had done pretty damn well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I
I
haven't
got
watched it yet.
I checked earlier. I've gotten about 15 new subs and 1,500 views off of my 140 subs that I had to start with. So I'd
So
say that's
there you
pretty
go.
good.
So 10x your subscriber count. So
100
was
yeah,
that?
10x, yeah.
Oh no, no, you're right. 100x, or no,
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 10x, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, 10x.
You're right.
We're good at math. We're good at math. I
Yeah.
swear. Um, so did that exceed your expectations? Was that kind of your expectation going into it? Talk to me about that.
No, I think that exceeded my expectations. Coming into it, I
Okay.
figured, I got 140 people subscribed. Of that, 10% will probably watch it. So I was expecting, that plus like whatever it throws out there and gets picked up, I'd probably end up somewhere around a couple hundred
Right.
Yeah.
views altogether. And it's only been, I put it out Saturday afternoon. I want to say like 1 or 2 o'clock my time, Saturday. And
Mhm.
so it's been just a few days. It hadn't even been the first full week, and it's already doing pretty decent. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm interested
Okay.
to see where it'll keep going. It's kind of like the last couple days. It's the curve has gone flat. So this morning,
Right.
or the right before we went live, I switched out the title and swapped the thumbnail with one that just has a different colored text on it. And
Okay.
then
Okay.
I might play with that again next week with something completely different as far as like a thumbnail's concerned.
I
Do
mean,
you
that's the
have?
perfect time to change it when you look at that graph of the viewers that goes up, 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 starts to tail off, and
Yeah.
now it's just like a shelf. Now, no, basically what that's saying is no one new was watching it. So that is the
Yeah.
perfect time
Yeah.
to
And that's what I
change it.
figured. Like it might be just sitting in somebody's ready to watch page or whatever,
Hmm.
and they're just passing it up. But if I change it, maybe that next one will catch their attention.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
Totally. I had something else I wanted to ask you about it. Oh well. Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So this is your channel relaunch. Did that perform significantly better than any of your old videos? Because I went back and it looked like you
For
deleted
sure.
a bunch of your old ones.
A couple of them, yeah. But there was a couple that I deleted. They were from way before, and then anything that I'd done in the last since I changed it to the pecan tree design, I left up so far. But I plan to go back and, anyways, I'll remove those as time goes on. But
Yeah.
yeah, they've definitely done better than I think, with a couple exceptions on my personal channel. They've done better than anything else that I've had go up for sure.
That's
Awesome,
awesome,
man.
dude. I know the excitement of when you put out a video and you're like, oh man, like, let's be real. The way that video is performed compared to your subscriber count, that is a video gone to the moon. Like,
Yeah.
that
I mean, if
video
I
is
got
kicking
10x my
ass.
subscriber count, I'd be
Yeah.
pretty happy.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Like, dude, that's like, I know, like, you're like, oh, I got like 3,000 views. Dude, that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
it took me a long time to consistently get a video over 1,000 views. Like, a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
Yeah, my next the next video is probably not gonna. Well, actually, that's a good question. So, it'll be a couple weeks before I can get this island that I'm building into a video and get it out.
Yeah.
So between now and then, because a few weeks, probably like a month. Let's be honest. But between now and then, I'd like to crank out another one. And I was thinking that one of my shorts that did really good was about a pull-out spice rack that I did on the side of an oven bank.
Sure.
Excuse me. So I've had people ask for a build video on that. Now I can't go back in time and shoot a whole new build video, but I did shoot a lot of like static images of that, and I thought maybe I'll throw together like a 5-minute and talk about the process of building that using the static video and images that I have. And throw
Interesting.
That out.
I'm gonna give. I would say if you're gonna do that, you might want to shoot yourself talking about the images rather than just having a static image on screen and like narrating over the top. Just give some like visual interest, like
or make it like a talking head video where you're, talking to the camera, be like, hey, I did this, I did this, I did that, and use the still photos as like B-roll.
Yes, yeah, I like that.
I think that is a much more approachable format, because think of it this way: if someone's going on YouTube, they're expecting a video. If I'm getting a slideshow, I'm out. But if it's like a talking head, like our buddy Drew from Witworks, he does a bunch of videos where he's talking to the camera. The majority of the video is just him talking to the camera, but then he has B-roll. I would try something like that, and it could be a format that your audience likes, could not. But also remember that your channel is small enough that you have the liberty to test out and see what works, see what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's what I figured. I kind of got that B-roll that I shot of it, like not just static images, but I got some video that I shot of it too. That's a little panning shots and stuff like that of the process as it's going. So yeah, I'll throw that up, and that'll kind of tide me over till the next one comes out, I think.
Yeah. Cool. And also, don't feel like, I know that's the common, common YouTube guidance is, oh my gosh, like, oh, my screen's going crazy. There we go. You have to put out a video like every other day. Like, I truly don't really think it matters.
No, I think it's quality over quantity.
Agreed.
For sure.
Is the key.
Agreed. Yeah.
100%.
That's been the general consensus I've heard recently, is quantity over quality for sure.
Yeah. Right. I wonder if that quantity thing worked better when there were less creators on YouTube.
Maybe.
If you could just be pumping out stuff into a relative vacuum, and you could just be capturing new eyeballs because there just weren't that many other content creators out there in each niche. I don't know. Sumat said, yeah, I put out one video a year.
That's going to be my cadence pretty soon.
Honestly, it's kind of freeing to just be like, yeah, I'm going to put out the video when I put out the video. Like, I'm going to put it out when it's done.
Right.
Right. Not a moment before.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
several creators are like that. And they're successful, so I don't have any fear of that.
I think there's definitely, if you can create high quality stuff very frequently, I think that's good. But I think most people have a hard time balancing the two.
Oh, yeah.
Because it takes a lot to make a YouTube video. I was out to dinner with some normal people who have normal jobs, and
how boring.
They were asking me, they're like, what goes into making a video? I was like, yeah, well, I'll film for 3-4 days, maybe 5-6 sometimes.
Right.
And then I go back and then I edit for 5-6 days. And then, I do thumbnails for a day and stuff like that. And they were like, oh my God, I had no idea. I thought you just turned on the camera and like talked to it for a couple hours and then
like just cut it up.
2007.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Oh, yeah. I honestly, most people in my life never even go to that detail. They're like, oh, like throw some videos together. That's cool. That's cool. Do you make
Yeah.
any money doing that? And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes if I'm lucky.
it does all right. Does all right. Well, I wanted to kind of circle back on that, on the premiere thing that you're talking about. There's been some
Sure.
discussion in the chat, and we also got a patron question,
Ooh.
all kind of related around the same thing. So typically would answer the patron questions in the after show, but I wanted to address it here. So we'll just kick this one off. This is
Bonus.
oh yeah. Steve at Milton Woodworking says, "Hey guys, Steve from Milton Woodworking here in the UK. I'm passionate about the making process of furniture and any woodworking projects, to be fair, but I'm at the start of my content creation journey. I have a few questions about the content creation process. So I'm just going to hit the first one because it was kind of going along with what we were talking about. It says, do either of you use specific editing tools / software for your videos, or do you just use YouTube Studio?
Ooh. Can you even do a whole video in YouTube Studio?
That was going to be my question.
Hold on. Let me check this.
I think you can.
That's scary. I don't know that I would
Could
ever
it be
want to
any
do
good,
that.
though?
I can't imagine it's any good. Edit a
I
full video in YouTube.
can't even find the YouTube Studio in... There's upload a video. Oh, okay. Hold on. No, that's create a post. Oh.
You can select
what?
multiple files.
You can make a podcast, apparently.
Which
I
I've
don't
done
know
that with all ours.
Yeah, really, eh?
Is that what that podcast? Oh, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, we really are.
I don't know if you can actually edit in YouTube Studio. And if you can, don't do it.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, don't do it. Pay either. Okay, if you want to go the free route, use DaVinci Resolve.
That's available on PC and Mac.
Okay.
For free.
So that's a very good option. Like, there are professionals who use DaVinci Resolve to edit movies.
Right.
So it's a very high quality piece of software despite the fact that it's free. Don't let the price tag fool you. And then the other two main options, I think, are Final Cut and Premiere Pro.
Right. So Final Cut Pro is only available on Mac. And it is a one-time purchase. I think it's $500 or $600 for the general public, but if you have a .edu email address, I think it's $200. So it's a one-time purchase, and you get unlimited updates, everything. That's personally what I use. Pretty damn good deal. The other one that is Mac only is free. Is
iMovie?
Yeah.
I've never actually tried messing around. I should say I tried messing around with iMovie in like the early 2000s.
Right. Yeah.
And that was the last time I ever touched it.
So iMovie is Final Cut Pro with 90% of the features stripped out.
Okay.
If you're just looking to put clips in there, shorten them, do a voiceover, maybe a title or two, you're golden. Like, iMovie works great. I did the first, 15 or so of my videos in iMovie. Yeah. It was fine.
You know, when it comes right down to it, you could make a 1 million view video with just various clips and a voiceover.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really easily. Like, the high-end titles and transitions and color grading and all that stuff.
In our space, not important.
No.
Yeah, like even in most spaces.
Right.
Unless you're trying to like really sell yourself as like a filmmaker.
Right.
Unless you're like Peter McKinnon or something.
Exactly. Even I think a lot of his videos could still play relatively well with just cutting clips. You just dropped something?
No, I just broke a pen.
Oh, no.
Oh, luckily it wasn't the ink. Okay, we're good. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract. No, 100%. Like one of the only niches that I think like really dialing perfect color grading, all this kind of stuff, is if you're in a photography like space, really
Videography
trying to
space,
teach
yeah.
people this stuff, or like you said, Derek, like a Peter McKinnon thing. Like
Yeah.
this isn't me like poo pooing anybody, but we all
No, no.
Jason from Bourbon Moth films on an iPhone and edits on his iPad. He is
Yeah.
not doing anything crazy. It's literally just trimming the beginning and end off clips,
Yeah.
putting them together, recording
Yeah.
a voiceover. That's it.
And he doesn't even use any of those that we mentioned. I forget which one he used. He used something completely different. Some app that he got.
InShot or something?
Is it InShot? Yeah.
You say he paid like $6 for the app, and that's what he uses. So like,
Yeah.
you know,
So there you go.
Steve, that's an option if you want to edit on your phone.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything worse. But
I know. The idea of editing an entire video with my thumbs on the screen just
drives me
sounds
nuts.
It's like, shoot me. And even it's like, okay, Zach, don't use your thumbs, use the Apple Pencil or whatever. I hate touch controls. Like trying to get like one frame this way or one frame that way. It always moves when you're pulling your finger away from the screen.
I thought I was the only one.
But
my fingers
all the time.
But let me hit you with this. Is this an example of your focusing on a minute detail that doesn't actually matter? Does anyone watching the video actually care if your clip was 3 frames longer or shorter?
No, but it jumps more like 3 or 5 seconds than it does 3 or 5 frames when you let
True.
off.
Yeah, it depends how close you're zoomed in. But you might be right. You might be right. I mean, I've always known that I overproduce my videos to a large degree. I could probably make my videos a lot simpler and it would still be fine. But I like I would like having a look. I like having a kind of a style to it. But
It's
I know it's not
enjoyable to you.
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, so I think the extent of the question is I'm looking to get into content creation. What video editing software do I buy? Answer, it doesn't matter.
Just
whichever
one
one you're
that works
comfortable
for you.
with.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say. Go ahead, Derek.
I was gonna say I started with what is it? Power Director, the one that's I've seen a lot of people use it. They have an app on the App Store and they have software for your computer, and it's like $30 a year for their subscription, or you can do it for free and they put a little watermark on there and limit your resolution and everything.
Sure.
But that was fine for me for years, and then I got into Premiere Pro and never looked back.
I will say, I don't know that this applies so much to the other ones. I was going to say you kind of want to treat your video editing software like buying into a power tool brand. Like, you want to think about features you might need later.
True.
And things that you might want to do later. Because I would hate to invest a ton of time learning how to do Final Cut and then be like, oh, there's some feature in Premiere Pro that I absolutely need for my production.
Right.
And now I have to learn a completely new brand of software.
Right. It's challenging. I mean, honestly, if I were to restart now, knowing what I know now, it's tough. So Final Cut runs so smoothly and quickly on a Mac because it's optimized specifically for a Mac.
Yeah.
Premiere Pro on a Mac is known to not run super great. Like, don't get me wrong, it's going to work fine, but like it's going to be slower. It's like you're going to run into issues. However, because Final Cut is a one-time purchase, sure, they throw you some updates here and there and stability things, but like the thing that people commonly see on short form content where the captions automatically pop up as people say that's not in Final Cut.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Adobe as much as I have issues with Adobe around them being expensive, being slow, being kind of glitchy, they are right on the cutting edge of integrating new features.
Right.
I'm getting updates like once a month where they're like, "Hey, try this new AI generative fill thing where it'll just make a background for your video."
Right.
And yeah, like the automatically generated captions, and then
Right.
turning those automatically generated captions into automatically generated graphics on screen. It's
Right.
kind of crazy what you can do with it. And again, the other nice thing about Adobe is that it's not just Premiere Pro, it's also Photoshop,
Right.
and it's also Adobe Audition and After Effects, and they all integrate pretty well with each other.
Hmm.
So that's something to think about too. There's a little bit of an ecosystem there.
Right. Right. But all of the video editing softwares in a you know large blanket statement all do the same thing. You import clips, you put them on a little timeline, you chop off the beginning and end, you rearrange them, you press play and it just kind of swipes across like a conveyor belt and it plays them.
Hmm.
They all
Hmm.
work like that. But if I were to open up Premiere right now and just try to like bang out a video, it'd take me a little time. Same thing if you
Yep.
did Final Cut. Like,
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I would. All my shortcuts wouldn't work. I
sure,
gotta have my shortcuts.
right, things like that. But yeah. So in summary, it doesn't matter what editing software you get. I would stick with something that has some sort of reputation. So I wouldn't sink all of your time into learning, Billy Bob's editing software that is an
Yeah.
app that just came out 6 months ago. Like if you want to do it on a
Yeah.
phone, use InShot or what's the other?
Go to the
Um,
App Store, look at the top 10.
yeah.
Yeah. True.
Um, if you have a Mac, iMovie, free. Just get that because it's basically Final Cut, but super stripped down. You could
Yeah.
also get an Adobe trial. What do they give you? Like 7 days, 30 days, something like that?
Probably
I think
30
it was
days, I
7. I
imagine.
think it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. There you go.
But screw around with that and
Yeah.
know that it is a learning experience. I highly recommend go search YouTube for like, beginner's
Yeah.
course, how to use Adobe
Yeah.
Premiere.
Yeah.
Watch and do the entire 1.5 to 2.5 hour thing, and you'll be damn near proficient at that software after that.
Here's
And
maybe look up some tutorial videos for different video editing softwares, and then find a creator that you like and who has like
Yeah.
a good library of content. Because I think half the reason I got into Premiere Pro was because I was watching other creators who were using Premiere Pro and they had all these video tutorials.
Right.
So I'd see something in their video about, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I could do that. Like just, follow along basically
Right.
watching them.
Right.
So,
and I'd say don't feel like you're locked into the first one you choose. In fact,
yeah.
maybe in the beginning, don't go for the Premiere Pro or the Adobe suites, or the whatever it's called, the Mac one. I forget. But yeah, don't go for one of
yeah,
the,
sure.
the high end ones right off the bat. Just go for maybe try one of the cheap ones first and see if you even like video editing.
Right.
And then it's like tools. You don't start out with the Fest tools. You start out with what you get at the big box stores,
Right.
and then you get comfortable with those, and you can go up to the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
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 Makes sense.
SR Woodworking wanted to know what did we use for background music when starting out?
Well, I know now we use
Crickets.
Epidemic Sound, which is
Yep.
a monthly subscription. Um, I don't know. It's like $10 a month, something like that.
Yeah, it's surprisingly cheap, which I like. I think it's probably 10 American because I think it works out to about 15 Canadian, 13,
Yeah,
15
something like that.
Canadian.
But so the good thing about Epidemic Sound is they will actually like go to bat for you. So if you ever get a copyright claim, for music they will actually take care of it,
Yeah.
which is nice. And they also have like an ever extending library. But I get it, $9, $10 a month, whatever it is a lot when you're first starting out. So what I used for background music was the stuff in the YouTube Studio. You can download
Sure.
it, use it for free. It's very limiting and very difficult to find what you're looking for, but
Yeah.
it is free. And you've all
One of
heard
the
these
nice
songs 1,000 times before.
one of the nice things about Epidemic Sound is that you're able to not just sort by genre of music, but you can also search by emotion. So you
Right.
can say like, I want to have a happy, laid back song that's building.
It's building
And
and is hip hop.
yeah, exactly. So and it's 120 BPM if you want. You can get
Right.
really granular with how you search, which
Right.
is handy in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
They also
And
spend a lot curating like playlists.
I heard they have better. They handle their copyright stuff a lot better too. Like Eric
Right.
was saying about them going to bat for you. But not only that, but they hold on to their libraries longer. Like a lot of other ones will tend to drop older music, and
Oh,
whenever they
Yes.
do, you get a copyright infringement.
Yes, yes, yes.
ooh,
That's super important. I know people that have used like, um, those iPhone apps or whatever. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah, like it maybe an
yeah,
InShot. They're like, this
yeah,
music's free for you to use, and then 6 months later they get a copyright claim on their YouTube video, and then
right,
like you're screwed,
yeah,
Yeah, 'cause you can't redo that.
right? If you get to the point where you're making money and music in your videos is important to you, pay for Epidemic Sound. It has a track record of being, the legality of working out really well for people. There's a reason that you've heard that name before.
yeah.
And that's like what all
Yeah.
creators use.
I think the best thing that I can say about Epidemic Sound is I've used them my entire way through my content creation journey. I've never once thought about switching to another provider.
No.
It's just seamless, it's easy, it works, it's all been good.
Right.
And to throw in one layer of confusion, I also am a member of a website called Motion Array, which is a combination of stock footage, motion graphics, music, sound effects, stock photos, a few other things, and it's pretty decently priced. I'm just going to pull up the pricing plan right now. Of course,
So
I'm
for
logged in
anybody who
at
doesn't know what graphics means, that's basically like, say, Zach's talking
titles
about
and
like titles. If Zach's talking about something and he's like, oh, 20% of my cost was this, 30% of my cost was this, it might be a little like pie chart that like pops up, and
yeah,
all he has to do is put like 20% building cost, 30% wood. I'm making this up. And it like does this crazy cool graphics thing, like, and all he does is just drag it on top of his video in his video editing software, and it's done.
exactly. And it's $19.99 a month. I used to pay $50 a month for a stock footage website that had like some graphics. And I ended up canceling that and getting this because it was just a much better value because you got
Okay.
music, you got graphics, you got stock. So
Yeah.
just made a lot more sense.
Probably
And what
not
is that?
necessary to people get right when they start out, but if they get more into video editing, full transparency, I don't use one of those. I just, when I bought like a graphics package, I think I paid like $50 for it, and it had like a million different like titles and stuff on it, and I was like, yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, watch, you ready for this segue? So if you guys enjoy how in depth we go in answering some of these questions, then you would love to check out the after show, because that's what the after show is. We talk about woodworking questions. We had a question about, how do I convince my friends and spouse to support me during all of these endeavors, all this kind of stuff. See, this is a good segue. If you like
Mm-hmm.
that stuff and want to ask your questions so we can really go in depth and answer them, then you got to become a new patron. Just
right.
like Dan Armendariz did.
Hell yeah,
Welcome,
Dan.
Dan.
Sorry, Dan, I'm so sorry. I know I'm destroying your last name. In the addition to our returning top tier patrons, Christopher Johnson, Josh at Freedom Workshop, Brooke Appler at Grizzly Bear Woodworks, Dadu, Luke Schmidt, Corey Duvall, Jason Price at Priceless Pro Designs, Scott Eastman at EC's Woodshop, and of course the Power Cocker, formerly known as Wes. Those are just some of the folks who are supporting us in the fight against the Green Suiters podcast, available on Apple and Spotify. Help support the show, and they get access to the after show, access to the Discord server, all kinds of stuff. But Zach, we've got exciting news for the folks, don't we?
We sure do. We are going to completely rework our Patreon tiers and the rewards therein.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a little worried that we're going to screw some people who are potentially waiting on some merch.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is there are still some people who haven't received their merch because they haven't inputted their addresses into Patreon.
Right.
So if that sounds like it might be you, if you're still waiting on some merch you haven't received, go to Patreon, input that stuff now because the new tiers are going to wipe out that stuff. And I don't want anybody to get screwed over and not receive the merch that they've paid for.
Yes.
So next week, we're going to give it 1 week from when this podcast comes out. And then we're going to roll out the new tiers.
Yes. And I just wrote myself a note that I'm going to look at everyone who hasn't received merch because they don't have an address, and I will send you a message on Patreon.
Oh, okay,
So
that's
get,
better.
get that settled. And
Personal email.
yeah, like what Zach said, if for whatever reason, somebody's like, oh, I just joined and that, that sticker was what I was after, let us know. We will take care of it. The intent is not to screw people over. We're changing Patreon perks just to freshen things up. We've been 86 episodes in. We want to change it up. If you at all feel like you're getting screwed over by something, please tell us. Send us a message on Patreon and let's talk about it. We will make it right. We'll get you something cool sent out. We got access to some cool stuff. We'll make it right for you.
Delaware
send
Workshops.
Us an email if you're not on the app. That works too.
So we're not eliminating any. Well, we are. Are we eliminating tiers? The tiers are reworked.
Just the high ones.
Yeah.
The high ones.
Do we just want to go through what we got?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Derek, can you pull those up? Do you mind?
Yeah, you want it up on the...
Yeah, pull it up on the screen, and we'll talk about it. So,
there we go.
Level 1 is what we're going to call the Green Suitors fan. It's $3. So what you get with that is you get access to the after show, and then you get your name called out on the show. So the idea there is, if you want to listen to the after show, low barrier of entry. We are going to, have that limited. So we're going to limit it to somewhere around 100 people. So as the podcast grows, the people who adopted it early can, save a couple bucks.
It's kind of an incentive and also a thank you to our earliest fans and supporters, essentially.
Right.
So
level 2.
In at 3.
Yeah, you get locked in at $3 basically. It's like, join now.
Early bird special.
Low pricing, right. Level 2 is $5 a month. It's the Bent. You get everything we talked about before. You get access to the Discord. So that's like a private, chat service that we have that I still need to figure out how to use. But there's tons of really cool, discussion in there that's not even necessarily just us. It could just be other fans of the show that talk. And you get priority questions answered on the after show. The other thing we have that we're working on is we are getting rid of the merch. However, we're looking to find a different provider that's cheaper, and we want to try to basically give like a discount on that, but we're still working on that, as Derek's notes say, pending match.
So what we're concerned with is basically we want to do a discount code for a merch store, and the higher your tier in Patreon, the more of a discount you get on the merch store. But we don't want to end up in a situation where we're promising somebody a 20% discount, but that's like basically what do I want to say here? That's negative.
It basically costs us money.
We're upside down.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's only so much margin on each item. For people who've never really done it before, when you sign up for one of these drop shipping websites that ships out t-shirts on your behalf, there's not much margin for you there as a creator. Something that costs the end user $20, you might be lucky to see like $1 or $2 as the creator.
Right.
So we're kind of limited in the amount of a discount that we can give, but we want to get our store set up and then give the patrons as much of a discount as we can. So that's
Right.
why it's pending math,
Right.
essentially.
Because we put out a survey on Patreon, and it seemed like people were interested in the merch, but they were like, yeah, just make it separate or whatever. And
Yeah.
because the Patreon merch fulfillment, like, let's be honest, it was a pain in the ass. We went through the whole debacle,
Yes.
what, like 6 months ago?
People weren't getting their merchandise. It costs you more as a creator just to have the merch as an option. So I think running it as a separate store, and it'll also allow us to, if we're doing it through a drop shipping company, we can have
Unlimited designs.
unlimited designs. We can have more
Change it up.
variation in what's offered. We don't have to be restricted to just a couple things.
Right. So I overall, like, people are like, oh, you got rid of the merch. Yes, we got rid of the merch in Patreon. But I
Yeah.
think it's, like you said, Zach, it's going to be more valuable to people.
We're gonna improve the merch.
Right. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Level 3 is $10 a month. It's the Fulton. So you get everything that we talked about before. And might I say, my personal favorite perk here is Troll Time. So what you get to do is you get to submit your own Green Suiters podcast slam. You can say whatever you want about the Green Suiters podcast, and we are going to read it live during the episode and give you credit for it.
hmm
That'll be fun.
Unless it'll get us taken off YouTube, in which case we'll probably do it in the after show.
Right, right. Again, probably a merch store discount, but still math. Level 4 is $25 a month, and that's the Sedge. So you get everything that we talked about before, plus you get your name read on every single episode. However, here's what I think is going to be fun, and I'm excited for this. We're going to call it BYOC, Bring Your Own Camera. So it's going to be like a monthly, hour-long, or, I mean, even if we leave, the chat can still keep going, right?
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Hour plus long, basically like a Teams, Skype,
Hangout.
Google video hangout.
It's, yeah.
I think if we do it as a hangout, we can also broadcast it to YouTube if we wanted to.
Yeah, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but we were going to do that as a replacement for the after show. One
Right.
after show every month, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be, I don't know, we'll make this up. The first after show of the month will be like a group hangout, so we can talk about anything. You can, show us, you can ask questions, viewer to viewer can talk. Like, we want this to be a collaborative thing, like, not segment ourselves away from other people. Like, we want to, get in the trenches, chat with you guys, meet you guys and stuff like that. Like, that's fun as hell.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. And then we're also going to have another level that doesn't have any additional perks, but if you want to support a little bit more, you're welcome to.
Yeah. Just you want to be a nice person to us. You want to support our podcasting addiction.
Right. So the whole point of that is we're re-engineering the perks with the idea that we want to provide you more value without really taking anything away. Our thoughts are, we don't think we're screwing anybody over, but if you feel like you are, let us know. We'll make it right.
Yeah.
Like if you really, really wanted that sticker and it's not going to come to you, we have stickers, we have things. We'll make it right for you, I promise.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of off the cut stickers, so I'll just put a bunch in an envelope and send it to you.
Right. We'll make it work. But that's enough on Patreon. We got anything else we want to talk about, or we want to head over to the after show? Because we got some good questions.
Well, we got good questions.
I gotta say, you were talking about the Discord and how what we talk about on there.
Eric has
only
people need some.
Yeah, Eric hasn't been there.
Yeah, Eric has no concept of what goes on the Discord.
Okay.
So anything he says should be disregarded
It's like
entirely.
maybe 10% of it is about the show. The other 90% is people on there discussing their projects and talking about their passions and what's going on within the community.
It's on my note. Discord is circled. I am going to download it. Is it going to be my new bathroom app?
But potentially, yeah. I mean, there's memes on there. People sharing their projects. There's a lot of
It comes in waves.
Eric shared his YouTube video on there when it first came out, and everybody was talking about it and giving him feedback on it. So
very supportive.
yeah.
Right
Yeah,
on.
and everybody shares their videos when they post them. A lot of
Yeah.
people do. So you get
Heck
some support
yeah.
from that too.
I'm down with it, and because it's it's a group of folks that are patrons. It's not going to just be trolls in there, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It's a very curated group of high quality people.
Yeah. Unlike the people at the Green Sears podcast,
The Green
available
Sears
on Apple and
Discord.
Spotify. Well, speaking of patrons, we should probably wrap up the main show and head over to the after show so we can talk to these patrons about some questions we got. Holy moly, this is a long one. Well, we got anything else we need to say?
No. Thanks for listening, everybody. Keep an eye out for those new Patreon tiers. If you're a current patron, make sure you got your address in there so you get your merch. And we will see you in the next episode.
See ya.
Cool. Oh yeah, give me 5 seconds silence. Okay.
You almost lost me.
We should, you know what we should do? We should have a competition at the end of every episode. We should all hold our breath and see how long we can do for.
You just see me turning blue and pass out. You'd be like, Eric, take a breath. Take a breath.
Eric, breathe there.
Breathe. You got this. Oh.